Number three, automate the attack. Set a fixed extra payment so it's not a monthly decision you have to remake. And so you want to automate it where it's not even thought. It's like almost so subconsciously, or it's not, it's just it's automated. You set the standard amount, and you can even add that extra payment to it so you can tackle that debt faster. Protect against relapse. Now, I am I don't want to be tone deaf. I don't, I am empathetic because addiction is real, whether that's, drugs and alcohol and even gambling and things of that nature. Um, Even shopping, like that can be addictive. But once you get out of it, and it's such a freeing thing, it's such a rewarding thing, you gotta set guardrails. So like when you go bowling, even Gabby, even Pastor Carroll, he brought up guardrails before in recent service. You gotta set guardrails so you don't fall back into the gutter. You don't fall back into the traps because it's so easy to, if you still got access to the credit card and you are intentional, and that's the thing about it, it's about intentionality. And you are intentional about not getting back into debt, being into that trap of being in debt. You want to have guardrails. So one of the guardrails is you want to cut up the credit card, or if you want to hide it, put it in a like a safe box, or you want to put it in a something else where you don't have easy access to it. Where it's like, okay, this is like the fire extinguisher glass. This is like a emergency, but that's where having that emergency fund comes in, and I'll get to that in a separate session or a separate video, but because this one just about that. So protect against relapse. Use the guardrails so the new debt doesn't creep back in while you pay off the old. Because it's easy to be like, you know what, I want to get this. I'll pay it back, and then you just back in that cycle again. Set the guardrails so you don't fall back into that trap. So the payoff. What's waiting on the other side? Before every extra dollar goes to interest, that sets the terms of your month. Wow. And but after that same money reopens to giving, tithing, building, and investing into the next season. So like I said earlier, before you're paying interest, and once you're debt free, you want to find ways to receive interest payments. Because being in debt, it can be almost like a form of enslavement. And I know that's, I'm not saying that loosely or lightly, but it can be a sense of enslavement because it's like it says, it determines what you do, what you can and what you can't do. If you can go on this trip with your family, if you can go on this vacation, if you can get this car that you really need. If you got a car or a sedan and you need an SUV for you and your kids, and because they keep kicking the back of your driver's seat, and you turn around like, hey, I ain't gonna tell y'all again to stop kicking the back of the seat. You need that extra room. If you have that debt, that limits your freedom to access what you can do. But after that same money reopens access to giving and tithing. And that's to me really the most important out of all of them because, and I'm not saying which church, but give it to a church because I mean, there's so many scriptures, um, where, give and shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, I mean, given to your lap. There's so many different ones where I've seen it in my life where, I would give even when it felt hard, asking God, because I know there's debates about the Old Testament and New Testament, the Old Covenant, New Covenant. It's really your relationship with God and what He puts in your heart. But you can use it towards building your future and investing into the next season. So now it's your turn. What's your debt-free year? So now you can list your target payoff date and make it public, make it real, or not even make it public. You can write it in your journal, write it on your vision board, write it on your fridge. Me and my wife, we got our weekly planner. like I said, she's really organized. I'm not as organized as she is, but that's where the balance comes in. It's like a puzzle piece, so you want to write it out on your vision board. Okay, I want to, and it doesn't have to be at the new year. It can be quarterly, it can be monthly, it can be weekly, what your goals are. I want to be debt free by this time. So now that we have the steps to go towards being debt free, the different methods, whether that's snowball effect or the avalanche snowball method or the avalanche method, use that to tackle the debt, be laser focused and locked in.